Welcome to this week's virtual Drasha. This week we have the incredible privilege to read the parashos of Behar and Bechukosai and Yirtzeh Hashem B'Mesayim, complete Sefer Vayikra. And of course, after parashos, Behar spends a significant amount of time speaking about Shemitah, the sabbatical year, then Yovel, the Jubilee year. The Torah launches into an exhaustive discussion regarding interpersonal obligations, interpersonal laws, and interpersonal expectations. And the Torah says in Perek Hey Pasuk Lamed Hey, chapter 25, verse 35, if your brother will be downtrodden, mach literally means like low. Your brother's pressed down, he's downtrodden, he's having difficult times. Umata yado imach, he will extend his hand with you. Vechazaktabo, hold on to him. A pretty straightforward pasuk. Torah Kedosha telling us that when you see another person in need, and that other person literally reaches out to you for assistance, whether literal or figurative, don't ignore their supplicative pleas. Don't turn a deaf ear. Don't turn a blind eye. Someone else is struggling and you have the ability to help them. Ultimately, again, know that you are acting in conformance with the highest level of divine will. A pretty straightforward pasuk and pretty self-explanatory. The Ksav Sofer, however, asks an interesting technical question. He says there seems to be an extra word in the pasuk. What's the extra word? Let's look at the pasuk again. Your brother is downtrodden. Umata yado imach. He will extend his hand with you. Vechazaktabo, hold on to it. To hold on to him. So as this Ksav Sofer, why do you need the word imach, with you? Let the pasuk just read, if your brother is downtrodden, umata yado, he extends his hand. Vechazaktabo, hold on to him. Why do you have to say he extends his hand with you? Imach, it doesn't even mean to you. It could have said umata yado licha, he extends his hand to you, which would have been extraneous as well. But all the more so, umata yado imach, he will extend his hand with you. And the Ksav Sofer makes an amazing observation. The Tzaddik writes that it is easy to help another person when you yourself are in a better state. Right? If I see someone who's struggling, and Baruch Hashem, you know what? My life is great. And even if it's not great, my life is good. And the truth is, I have things pretty much in order. Right? My shalom bayis is good. My health is good. My parnasa is good. My kids are good. Baruch Hashem, everything is good. So another person comes along and he's struggling. He's downtrodden. He reaches out to me for help. Of course I can help him. In other words, when I'm in a position of strength, it's easy for me to help another. But says the Ksav Sofer, a lot of times in life, when I am struggling myself, and then someone else comes and asks me for help, I say, you know what? I can't do this. I just have too much on my plate. It's like the metaphor that everyone likes to use, right, on the airplane, right? You get onto an airplane and the stewardess gives you all of the instructions, and if there is a decrease in air pressure in the cabin, so oxygen mask will fall from the ceiling, always remember, put your own mask, and for those traveling with children, put your own mask on first and then that of your child. So sometimes in life I feel like that. I'm struggling with a whole variety of different things. So suddenly someone comes along, they're also having problems, and I say, you know what? Listen, buddy, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, but you know what? My cup runneth over, not with good stuff, but with challenges. So right now, I just don't have the bandwidth to focus on you. I just don't have the emotional ability to try to help with your problems. I'm drowning in my own problems. The Ksav Sofer says something so amazing. He says it goes without saying that you have to help someone when you're in a good place in life, but you also have to help someone even when you yourself are struggling. Ksav Sofer says that's the pshat in the pasuk. If your brother is struggling, umata yado imach, he will extend his hand alongside you. Says the Ksav Sofer, the Torah is speaking about a situation where someone reaches out to me for help because they are struggling, and guess what? I'm struggling too. I'm struggling too. Umata yado, he doesn't just extend his hand to me, he extends his hand with me. There is a commonality in the experience that I am having and the experience that the supplicant is having. He's coming to me because he's mach, because he's downtrodden, because he's difficult, he's having difficulty. And umata yado, so am I. So am I. I'm also having difficulty. And says the Ksav Sofer, you would be tempted to say, I'm sorry, I wish I could help. But Chayecha called me, I have to take care of my own problems first. Torah says, no. Even if you're struggling, if someone else has a problem, be there for them. Hold them up. Hechazaktabo, grab them. Don't let them fall any further. Just because I have my own struggles does not exempt me from my moral, my religious, my spiritual obligation to help my fellow Jew. Says the Ksav Sofer, that's the meaning of the word imach. Sometimes the person reaching out their hand to help, I say to myself, listen, I'm no better off than you just because maybe I look like I have my life a little bit more together. I'm struggling just as much as you are. And before I help you, I have to help me. Before I put on your mask, I have to put on my mask. No. Even if he extends his hand and his hand is on the same level as you, even if you're struggling just as much as he is, v'chazaktabo, help him out. Another Yid, another Jew reaches out for assistance. No matter what is happening in your life, you have to find some way, even if it's a small way, v'chazaktabo, to hold on to him, keep him from falling any further. Find some way to help the plight of your fellow Jew, no matter what your personal circumstances may be. But I think we could build on the Ksav Sofer just a little bit more. V'chazaktabo. See the lashon, right, or I should say the expression of hold on to him, and even Rashi explains this. It almost sounds like somebody reaches out for help, and often when a person reaches out for help, they're not in the lowest of the low, but like they're teetering. They're slowly like about to fall into the abyss. V'chazaktabo. Hold on to them, give them help. Don't prevent them from falling any further. The chazaktabo could also mean not hold them up, but rather hold on to them, meaning that sometimes the best way to extricate yourself from your own difficulties and your own challenges is do something good for someone else. Sometimes when I'm feeling down about myself, I'm feeling down about my life, I don't feel like things are in a good place. So you often think that the salvation for that comes in something you're going to do for you. Meanwhile, sometimes the best way to extricate yourself from a life funk is to go ahead and do for the other. Sometimes if you're struggling, you know where the Yeshua, where the salvation is? It's not something you're going to do for you, but it's something you're going to do for someone else. V'chazaktabo. The Torah is talking to the giver, right? Let's play this out. According to the Ksav Sofer. So Ruvain comes over to me, and Ruvain says, Silber, I'm having such difficulties. Ki yamuch achicha amach, I'm downtrodden. Umata yado, he extends his hand to me. He thinks I'm in a better position of life to help him out. What he doesn't realize is, imach, I'm struggling as much as he's struggling. So what does the Torah say? The Ksav Sofer, what does the Torah say? You got to help him. Even though at the end of the day you're suffering and you're struggling also, v'chazaktabo, hold him up, but don't just hold him up. Understand, when you help him, you're holding on to him, and the help you give to him is going to pull you out of your rut as well. Sometimes the way to address and to deal and to ameliorate our own life difficulties is not through things we do for ourselves, but v'chazaktabo. Sometimes it's from the very things that we do for others that we're able to improve our own personalistic plight. V'chazaktabo, hold him up, keep him from falling, but just recognize when you hold him up and keep him from falling, he's pulling you up from whatever difficulties you are facing as well. Sometimes the best way in life to get myself out of a rut, to get myself out of a bad spot, sometimes the best way to just change my vision, to change my outlook, to change my circumstances, to change my orientation, sometimes the best way to do that is not through something you're going to be doing for you, but something you're going to do for the other. Two profound lessons in one simple life pasuk. Number one, always be ready to help, even if you yourself need a lot of help as well. And recognize that sometimes the greatest thing you do for you is not something you do for you, but rather personalistic salvation often comes through something you do for the other. V'chazaktabo, hold up the other, and he will pull you up as well. Wishing everyone a good Shabbos, a beautiful, restful Shabbos, and a Mazel Tov on being Messiah Sefer Vayikra.